Hi.
Hello, hi. So thanks for talking to me. I appreciate it. I watched the movie last night. I enjoyed it. It was campy and kind of crazy, but it was good. I liked it. So, can you start by just talking about sort of what it was about this that made you want to, be part of this project?
Uh, I'm quite partial to indie projects that really reflect a vision by the creator. And I think what Phil Blattenberger was able to do with such a small crew um, was admirable. And I love the fact that Michael Ironside, Arnold Vosloo, and like these wonderful older actors were part of it. So anytime that I can do something that perhaps I can learn from, my peers or people who've done this a lot longer than I have, I try to leap at the opportunity.
Cool. So now that you said that, what's something that you learned from your cast members, like about, I don't know, acting or maybe just in general? Maybe you learned something else.
Well, Michael Ironside and I got to hang out for a long time, and he taught me a lot, and we talked for hours.
That's cool.
A little bit about filmmaking and a little bit about acting, but mainly about life and kind of what it means. And it's it's a strange world to be an actor. It's
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot
sure.
of fun, and I love it, but there is a certain amount of insanity that it takes to pursue this line of work.
Talk about, obviously you have quite the accent in this film. What was that like, kind of, I guess, creating that and also staying in that? Is it hard to kind of keep it up? I guess is the other question. I mean, obviously you're an actor, so you're used to doing it, but
I worked with a dialect coach for this film to get the German accent, playing a German character.
mm,
Well, we wanted to really kind of identify exactly who he was with the voice, as opposed to just doing a caricature, I suppose. So we really went along the idea that this was during World War II, he was a Hitler youth who was
yeah,
very inspired by the Third Reich and those evils and the atrocities,
yeah,
and what that would mean in terms of his mannerisms, his voice, and then also the idea of a lot of these Nazis were absolutely hooked on methamphetamines, and in fact, the Nazis were feeding their troops meth as a way to keep them going, kind of making super soldiers.
that makes sense.
But I mean, it's meth, so not good. Plus Nazi, not good. So you just
No.
evil, bad people.
So when you learn like the few lines or whatever that's in German though, do you like learn what stuff means or you just kind of like learn how to re-say it? I'm just curious, like your process with that.
Oh no, it's definitely you want to learn the meaning behind the words so you can have the proper inflections. I think otherwise you can just make a sense of guttural noises and say that's language. But to have the intention, I think that's the most important aspect of dialogue is really to convey the intentions of your character.
That makes sense. So now you talked a little bit about this with the Nazis and this, but did you go a lot into like research wise before you did this, or like did you just take everything, from what it was?
I tried to do as much research as I could stomach, I should say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evil and atrocities when you come to that part of history,
Yeah.
and I think it's important and it's demonstrably important to understand the atrocities that were committed during World War II. Um, my wife and my children are Jewish, and I teach them about these, kind of horrific acts and what happened because it's important to never forget because if you forget then it can happen again. So
Right. Now, you didn't necessarily do a whole lot of like I want to say evil stuff on screen. Like you did some, but you weren't, it was mostly dialogue in that. But how do you kind of, I guess, like connect with that evil? Like how do you get yourself in that mindset that you can do that? And I know as you're an actor, that's what you have to do, but how do you sort of get into that and step into that evil?
I'd say the hardest thing to do is to sympathize with the character and not see it as evil, see it as
Right.
purposeful, which was the hardest thing to do, I think, for a character like this is to, make him sincere and earnest in a way. Uh, but also, to entertain the audience and to kind of have that level of kind of explosive, for lack of a better term, fun with the character. That way, hopefully, you just kind of once you get to that part of the film about the second, third act, you kind of start getting a little bit more explosive.
Mhm.
Uh, so we wanted to kind of come in there with a really heightened energy and to kind of wake the audience up a little bit, maybe.
All right. I want to ask you about that, but first I want to ask you, is it hard though to shake that off to get back out of it for you? Or is it just on off?
For me, it's on off. I like to do a lot of research and prep so that when I'm on set and they call action, I'm living in the character until they call cut. I don't
You don't do it.
tend to break character while I'm filming, but it's pretty easy for me to leave the character on set.
Yeah.
It's I think it's important.
Yeah, you don't want to, that's what I was gonna say, you don't want to bring that home. But back to you did seem like this character seemed like, well, this whole movie really, like, I mean, obviously it's a lot of dark subject matter, but it does have its kind of, like I said, it's sort of got a little bit campness to it. So you seemed like you had a lot of fun though, with doing this. I mean, I assume it seemed like it was a pretty fun role for you to get into.
Oh yeah, well, Greg Creek and I, he played one of my little minions in the movie. Well, Greg and I go back to South Africa. We did a film there many years ago together. So when he was on set, he and I were just kind of having fun, and we have
Mm,
natural rapport. So it was, it honestly, there were times when I felt bad because the leads of our film are playing these very serious
yeah, straight.
morose characters, and then here comes my Nazi, and he's crazy and all over the place, and drinking and snorting meth, and it was uh it was fun, but I did like to take a hot shower when I got home to clean myself.
I get that. I did the one thing I did mean to ask you, I had forgotten about is this show does have good costumes. It has, you get the period costumes and everything. How much does that affect you as you're creating it? Like, is that something that for you as an actor really helps you get into the character, or are you more just about the script? I mean, people look at it differently.
Oh, 100%. I think it if I back up a little bit, so I always equate film or movies to a wristwatch. All you see is the face and the hands of time ticking. And it can be beautiful, it can be rugged, it can have many different facets to the look of it. However, everything that goes on the other side, underneath, inside of the wristwatch, that's really what makes it all tick. So everything comes together to tell the story. And when I'm getting ready in pre-production, I'm doing as much work as I can for the internal aspect of the character. And then when I come to set and I put on the wardrobe and then I step onto the set and I feel out the other actors and the director and we're doing it, we're vibing, it can change, and it can change drastically from where the rehearsals were to what you're actually doing on the day.
Mhm.
Uh, so I think for me, yeah, it is quite a bit to do with every little aspect. I really like the input from wardrobe and the input from makeup and just getting a sense of who this character is, because all these little subtle differences, like, they matter.
Mhm.
It's like, why do you do your hair the certain way? Like, there's a routine behind when you wake up. Like, what is your routine? Do you shave everything? Do you leave a little mustache? Do
Mhm.
you have a beard? What kind of boots do you wear? Do you shine them? Do you care about them? Like all those little things inform character. As David Mamet said, character is routine. So what is the routine of the character? And I think that that really parlays into wardrobe and all that.
Okay.
It's a
Now
great
I want
question.
to ask you, other than you said about doing independent movies, but other than that kind of side of it, is there anything else, like, I guess in particular, that you look for when you're deciding whether or not you're going to do a project?
Um, I really look for opportunities to expand upon what I've done or
Mhm.
do something I've never done. I'd never played a Nazi, so that was interesting to me. I don't know if I want to play a Nazi for like a long. I don't know. It's never been a dream of mine to play a
Yeah, I
Nazi.
get that.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
But getting to work with Michael Ironside, I think was one of the biggest things for me. So whenever I look at my projects, I try to find someone that I can learn from and hopefully do something I haven't done before.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I was looking while I'm talking to you. I was looking at you have a lot of credits. I didn't realize you had quite so many credits, quite a bit. Now how is I guess trying to think of the way to phrase this. You've obviously been you go from you've done this kind of indie movie and you've done something like Twilight, which is quite at the other end of that. Do you approach it different in that sense, or is it really just you go by the character and it doesn't matter and you don't even think about that until, like after the fact?
Well, my my thing is at the end of the day, regardless if it's a big budget picture or if it's a small budget, or
Mhm.
I've done things that like basically it's like a budget of a ham sandwich, um, and I do it because I love storytelling. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's nice to have the big budget, the trailer, the nice craft services, snacks, and good lunches and all that.
Mhm.
But there is something kind of sincere and earnest and harkens back to the old days of filmmaking when you just have a shoestring budget and some people that have a dream and want to tell a story. And so for me, I approach them all with the same level of seriousness, the same level of heart, the same amount of research. I try my best to tell the story and tell my part of the story that hopefully, makes people entertained.
Mhm. When you talk to people, do you still get asked a lot about something like Twilight? Because I would assume that you would, that you still get that even now. And obviously it's been, and I guess I'm asking you, got that's I'm answering my question, but I'm just curious, like, do you still get a lot of that, or do they kind of have they moved on?
I'd say it's about 50-50. I think um people ask me about Twilight because it was a momentous
Yeah,
series. It was a big deal. But it's wrapped up about 10 years ago
yeah,
now.
it's been quite a while.
It's been a long time. It's been
Quite a
a
while.
decade. However, it was a film that spoke to a lot of people, a film series and a book series that spoke to a lot of people, and it made people feel things. And so it's cool to have been a part of something so momentous. Yeah, I look back at those years with a lot of fondness, and I love my cast, and I love the stories we were able to tell.
That's cool. Do you still see them or talk to them, or I guess with Zoom you probably do even easier with people, but
Yeah, it's pretty nice. We stay in touch. I saw Peter, Kellen, and Ashley recently, and they're the sweetest people. Ashley's got a new baby. So does Peter, and so
oh,
does Kellen. I mean, we're all parents now. When Peter was a parent back then too, but now we've all joined the ranks of parenthood, and yeah, life just keeps
life
on.
moves on and you change, right?
Yeah, it just keeps on trucking forward.
So, are you ever interested in doing something behind the camera, like, the directing side of it or anything like that?
Oh
Writing?
yeah, I've as a an artist I'm a cinephile. I love movies. And I do hope to direct more. I did direct a short that I wrote called Couch Surfing USA. We won Best Comedy in Vancouver Web Fest. We went to
That's cool.
Marseille, France with it. We traveled around with it. That was a fun project, and I have a couple more that hopefully I can, get behind the camera a bit more. I've produced quite a bit, but I really have fallen in love with. I'm always going to be acting. I love it. It's my favorite thing. But I've quite fallen in love with writing and directing. It's something. It's a passion for sure.
Do you have any other, it looks like, according to Internet Movie Database isn't always right, but according to it, it looks like you have some other projects coming up acting wise. You want to talk about them a bit?
Yeah, I have a couple movies coming up. I have a wonderful kind of action thriller called The Island that I got to work with Michael Jai White. I got to be kind of his wisecracking best friend, which was a dream come true. It was a lot of fun. I got to do some fun action sequences, some good fights. And then I did another movie called The Island, which I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I'm like, maybe I heard you wrong.
Yeah, I was like, what? I'm just going to say the same thing again.
Yeah.
Then I did a different movie called White Noise, which was with Alex Pettifer, and he's a lot of fun to work with. Kind of pushes everybody forwards. And that film was a kind of a horror action thriller, and there was a lot of improvising on that film, which was surprising to me for a film of such a, kind of sci-fi horror nature, to improvise as much as we did. But it was a lot of fun.
Okay, just to clarify before I put this up, is it black noise or white noise? It says black noise on your.
Did I say White Noise? I saw
Yes.
that movie recently. That's what it
That's
was.
what I was thinking. That's
It's
a
not a
movie I've
bombast
already
film with Adam
seen.
Driver and Greta Gerwig, and
That's
like
okay.
so no, it's Black Noise.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
So
that people
sorry.
tune into the right movie. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but watch White Noise. That movie was great, and
Yeah,
I
it was a good movie.
absolutely loved it. But my movie's Black Noise, and
Okay.
it's quite different.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It was good and looking forward to people seeing this and, seeing what they have to say. It was a good movie. So thank you.
Hey, thanks so much.
Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye bye.